Hello and welcome to Lucky Losers, the channel with content for all. And welcome to the third of 4 parts of the brief history of public transport in Swindon. This history does not include the other bus company or companies operating in Swindon at that particular time.
Oh, that's not nice.
However, the good news is that I will do a series of videos on the other Swindon operator or operators in the new year, so stay tuned to that. Before we go on to look at the series of photos and video, I want to say that this particular period from 1960 to 1990 marks the heyday of public transport in Swindon, with a lot more routes being added and even more passengers travelling on the particular network.
This is the AEC Reliance with Willowbrook dual door bodywork, seen when new at the 1964 Commercial Motor Show. Typical view of Regent Circus in the 60s, with Daimlers loading for Park North and Walcott respectively. This was the hub of the network until 26th of September 1967, when the Flemingway bus station opened. The last front-engine buses delivered were 3 Daimler CVG 630s, double-deckers with forward entrance bodies by Northern Counties, new in 1967. This one is seen when new near the Bodybuilders Works in Wigan. 1967 Leyland Leopard, passing the Railway Museum in Farringdon Road prior to the introduction of the one-way traffic system. These dual doorway buses had bodies built by Pennine Coachcraft Rochdale. Only 4 dual doorway double-deckers were purchased, numbers 152 to 155. 1970 Daimler fleet lines with Northern Counties bodies. Since 1970, a policy of single doorway specification has been adopted. One of the first of Swindon's rear-engine buses, a Daimler fleet line CRG6LX with Northern Counties 7-seat body, new in 1968. The next single-deckers were 5 Bristol REs with ECW bodies and 43 dual-purpose seats suitable for longer journeys. These enabled private hire work to be developed, and they were subsequently joined by 4 Dennis Dominators with Marshall bodies, which increased the private hire fleet. This is the route map in 1979, when Swindon had a population of almost 100,000. There were 69.17 route miles. On the subject of route maps and bus numbers.
So, on the subject of numbering systems and routes in that time, I've tried to remind myself what the actual numbers were and the buses and the routes in that time. There's absolutely nothing online in any of the pages. I tried looking for some leaflets and again I couldn't find anything. So here is my memory of what I think the numbers were and the routes were. Correct me if I'm wrong, particularly if you were a bus driver or used the buses a lot during that time. I'm sure there may be, or I'm sure there are, 1 or 2 little mistakes or big mistakes. So I believe there was a number 1 which went to Toot Hill and Freshbrook. I believe there was such a number, and there was also a number 2. This is Tensdown numbers, by the way. I'm not talking about the numbers operated by Swindon District. Number 2 went to Covenham. This one I'm sure about, number 7, Pinehurst and Walcott East. I am talking about the 1980s. This one I'm sure about, number 13 went to Eldene. Again, I'm sure on this one, number 14 went to Leiden, separate services in that time. 15, Gorse Hill, Pen Hill, Lawn. I think it was one line. 16, I'm definitely right, with the Princess Margaret Hospital. That line no longer exists, obviously, as there's a new hospital in Swindon. Number 17, Winter Park North. 18 to Park South, separate services to the parks. This one, whoops. Now this one's weird. So this one is a bit weird. Number 47, I do remember a 47 going to Marlborough. Maybe it was a dream or something, but it does ring a bell actually. There are a lot of numbers obviously I don't remember. These were bus services operated by Thamesdown, but the numbers are unknown. But again, I might be wrong here. Services to Blunsdon, Sparcels, to Stratton, or maybe that was operated by Swindon and District, to Mannington, what have we got there, Rawton, Westley, Haydenwick, and perhaps others that I haven't really mentioned, or I don't know. Anyway, it's just my memory. I hope it's still good, and I hope you found this particular part interesting, and correct me if I'm wrong, of course. And here you have the bus numbers that served Walcott East from the 1960s, 70s, 80s. So from number 3 to number 19, to number 29, to number 7, and currently services 2 and 5. So there you go, good lotto numbers, got 6 there. Who knows, you may win $1 million if you choose those numbers in your next game of Lotto.
The 1960s, 70s and 80s were marked by many alterations and extensions to services, notably the introduction of new routes to freshly developing areas, including the Princess Margaret Hospital on the 4th of January 1960, Cobingham on the 6th of October 1963, Greenmeadow on the 1st of November 1964, Eldene on the 2nd of August 1971, Leiden on the 8th of April 1974, Tootle on the 5th of September 1976, Haydenley on the 13th of November 1977, and then came other services such as Freshbrook, Westley, and others. The first one-man or woman operated buses were introduced on the 4th of May 1969, and up until the end of the 1970s, 80% of the undertaking's mileage was operated on this basis. This picture shows the Daimler Fleet Line CRG6 with ECW body repainted in the old Swindon Corporation tramways colours to celebrate the 75th anniversary of public transport.
Just before I conclude this part, I'd like to point out, as you can see on my bus sketch, the history here is from 1900 to 2020, 120 years. However, somebody has pointed out, and rightly so, that in fact the history started in 1904. The first tram service was actually operated in 1904. I do acknowledge that particular fact. However, planning did start in the year 1900. So, well, for me that's still thinking about public transport. So in my eyes it's 120 years. Let it be. Okay? But I know perhaps for most of you it's 116 years there. Okay then, enough of that. Part 4 will come in November, the final part. That's the transport from 1990 to up until this year. Again, there are many changes, so I hope you join me in November for the final part of A Brief History of Public Transportation in Swindon. So I'm going to love you and leave you. Don't forget to comment and all the rest of it. And thanks a lot for viewing. Love you. Bye.